This is Bren Masson. That was Bob Pritchard. This is Bren Masson. And you're listening to Fresh Waves here on Whistle FM. Whistle FM is Stouffville's community radio station, and we are talking with one of Stouffville's businesses from the heart of downtown Stouffville, Alison Jackson of Redefined Finds.
Hello.
So we promised the listeners that in the second half we would talk about all the different workshops and what they are. Sometimes people are a little intimidated. They think that they don't understand the terminology, or they think, wow, I can't make a clock. Who am I? Not a clocksmith. So let's talk about that and talk about the fundraisers that you do and all the different options that are available. So why don't we start out with some of the workshops? I took the On the Road magazine here with a lovely picture of you and a ladder, which is one of my projects I have to tell you about. Since you know,
it?
I have two ladders. One of them is at my cottage and one of them is at home. And both of them are my dad's old wooden ladders.
Right.
That my brother was going to throw in the garbage. Ha, Brian, I got him. At the cottage, I have an attic space that's over top of the bedrooms that's accessed by a little door in the living room that's located, very high up. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to refinish a ladder. And some of my friends are saying, oh, don't. They look so nice when they're covered with paint. And I think, no, they don't. They just look like old ladders covered with paint. Yeah. So I'm not going to leave them as old ladders covered with paint, but I would really like to turn them into something interesting and funky. And I'm thinking of, different colored rungs. And I have a flair for the eclectic, funky stuff.
That would be fun to do with all the different colors. That would be fun.
It would be really fun, especially if I'm at the cottage in the summer and I can be doing it outside and then, ditch a project for a few hours and go swimming and paddleboarding and then go back and finish it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I like to work in the summer.
No,
and then
that's
you get
fun.
the mosquito that flies into the paint.
I know, it's stuck in the wet paint.
Isn't that always fun? You don't know whether you should actually save it, if you could put a clear coat over top of it and just say, this was part of the process.
A moment in time.
The old dragonfly in amber.
Yes, exactly.
Mosquito infusion.
Infused.
There you go. Okay, so that's my little story of what I want to do.
That would be good.
But you have different things. I'm looking here. House, number, sign, planter. That sounds like three things in one sentence.
Yeah. So what we're doing there is we've just brought on a lady. She's in Kawartha Lakes. So it's a company called Build Like a Girl Canada. So yeah.
What a great name.
Build Like a Girl. So it's pretty cool. So that's our first workshop with her. So those workshops are done on the days we're closed. So we're closed on Sundays and Mondays. But we're doing those on Sundays because you have to they're using drills, hammers, everything. So they actually... The pieces of that is a house number sign. So it's like a modern looking number sign with metal letters that goes on the outside of your home, and it's got a little planter on the bottom. So it's very cool, very funky. So, but she brings the pieces pre-cut and we assemble them, the actual customers or the participants. And believe me, I know nothing about construction. Okay. So you don't have to. Really, any of our workshops, unless they say advanced, and I only do, I think, one advanced workshop, you don't need to have any prior knowledge. So all of our workshops are meant for beginners because we really want to create a whole base of people who can come in and feel comfortable doing what we're doing, and they don't have to feel like, oh my God, I've never nailed anything, or I've never painted a piece of furniture. You don't have to have done that at all. We will carry you through all of the steps. So that one, they come in, I think it's a 4-hour workshop. And like I said, they're pre-cut pieces. So there's no sawing because that might be a little dangerous. But then we put the pieces together and then we show them how to paint them. So they go home with it done. And then Nikki assembles the metal letters or numbers onto the sign. So that's one of them. And then we have a blanket ladder workshop where you put the ladder together and we paint them. And she offers one other one that we're having. Oh, a big console table for your, hallway or whatever. Mm-hmm. So those are building ones. Those are done on the off days that we're not open. But we also offer our own painting ones. I think our most popular workshop that we have that is paint specific and that we carry through probably usually 1 or 2 a month is the Intro to Furniture Painting. So that is just learning all of your basics on how to paint furniture. You don't have to bring in anything. We include all of the supplies and we take you through the basics.
You include the furniture?
No, because what you're doing is you're doing boards and a crate. So you're just learning how to prep a piece. So your boards are supposed to be your drawer front or whatever. So we're just showing you, this is how you would prep your wood, this is how you paint your wood, and this is how you finish your wood. And then we show them a couple of different techniques on the crate. So they go to a little bit of an extra step of doing some dry brushing and some distressing. So it's really just all the basics, and then they take it home and they know what they can do with their furniture. People like that because they don't have to have a piece to bring in. They just want to, and it's still hands-on. They're still painting. But I'm talking a lot, so I tell them, how all of the steps and all about our products. So that's our most popular one. We have one of those actually next week. And then the other one is paint your own piece. So that one is where you do bring your own piece in, and we have lunch, you take a break while the first coat's drying. And again, people come in and they're like, I don't know, are you sure? I don't know if I'm going to finish this piece. Okay. I said, believe me, we haven't had a person leave that doesn't love their piece. And the beauty of doing it in the studio with us is you have our knowledge. So you're not just saying, I want to paint it black. Help me paint it black. We'll help you paint it black, but we're also going to help you finesse it a little. So you might think, yeah, well, we're going to put a little bit of a metallic wax on there to just make that pop. And they're like, I would never have thought of that. But that's the beauty of coming to our shop to do it, is if you want that little extra, we can offer you that. And then you're also learning, those are limited to a smaller amount of people because you're bringing in a piece of furniture.
I was going to say, can you bring in a huge armoire or something?
No, because it's a 4 hour. So our goal is, what we say to people is, you have to be able to carry it in the store with 2 hands on your own.
Yeah.
They'll get their big husky husband to carry a big wider one in, but they do, so they have to carry it in on their own, so that it will be finished in 4 hours.
Right.
Because if it's too big, it wouldn't be finished in 4 hours. But they get to see what everybody else is doing, so they're learning all the techniques that we're applying to everybody else's furniture, and then they're going, I'm going to do that on my next piece. So we have people that take multiples of that, but that one's super popular because you go home and your piece is done. And you've learned a great deal and done it all by yourself. So we like those are the painting ones. And those are knowledge, but also hands-on. And then we have a ton of project-based classes that are really fun for groups. We get private groups. We get work parties. But there's pillow stenciling. I think we've stenciled about 600 pillows in the store. People love them. They go home with 2 pillows that they've stenciled with the fill.
Now, what do you mean about the stencil? It's not painting.
It is painting.
It is painting.
You're putting the stencil onto the pillow, and then you're painting with our
fabric
paint. No, with the fusion.
Oh.
But you can wash it. You can live with it. It's fine. It'll not go anywhere. It's never going to come off.
So you work with the case of the pillow first, and then
and then we fill it at the end.
Isn't that cool?
Those are super popular. And those are a lot of private parties. We do birthday parties for that, and kids parties. We have a March Bake pillow stenciling that's pretty full. Kids love it. 7-year-olds and up can do it.
And that's the old theory that if a 7-year-old can do it, then I can too.
Yeah, anyone can. And people are so surprised. Even you mentioned the clocks, because people come in. I think that's the biggest, that one and the paint your own piece, when people leave, it's the biggest wow factor. They're like, I just created a 24-inch clock by myself that looks like it could be sold in a store. And they take it home, and their family is like...
Okay, I have to tell you a funny story, because that's what I do. I'm a funny storyteller. And sometimes it's funny, haha, and sometimes it's just funny, damned unusual.
Peculiar.
But we went up north over the Christmas break, and I had seen this beautiful clock. And I thought, there's no way I can hang that. It's bigger than the poster behind you. So it's probably 3 or 4 feet across, and it was massive.
Right.
But I have a massive triangle roof thing at the cottage where there's no window, where most people have a window, but the guy who built our cottage wanted to save $15.
Right.
Anyway, so we have a painting there now. I thought I would put that clock there, and then I thought, it's way too heavy. I can't put it there because it's massive.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out when I talked to the lady at the store, it wasn't massive at all. It's massive, but it doesn't weigh anything. It's just it's really light, and the clock workings is just behind it, but it's very light. And as I looked at it, I realized, wow, it's just painted. It's painted on like a piece of metal, and it's
cool.
Wow, it's really cool. So a friend of mine went in this Christmas, and she ended up buying one just like the one I wanted. But anyway, very similar to the one I wanted. And hers had canoes in it. Mine had skis in it. Somebody else bought it while I was making up my mind. They said the guy could make another one. Anyway, she bought it. And then I look in the magazine or online, and I see your store doing the exact same clocks. And she doesn't like hers because the canoes stay stagnant in the middle, and it always looks like it's sort of 10 to 2 or 5:20 or something, 4:20. And it's confusing because the boldest thing in the middle of the clock is not the hands, but you assume in your mind that it is the hands. And then you see that the hands are quite fine and they're going around. So she's annoyed with her clock. And so I wanted to say to her, you can go to Redefined Finds and make your own.
Absolutely.
And then you wouldn't feel so bad that you spent $250 on that clock.
Yeah, no, we do so many clocks in the store, and people leave, and honestly, they look professional.
I saw the pictures on your website, and I was amazed. Yeah. And some have Roman numerals, some have regular numbers.
And that's, again, all stencils.
Really?
So we take them through the process of they stain the clock. It's a pine round, and they stain it, then they paint it, then they stencil it, and we add the clock hands on at the end. And
so it works?
They go home, working clock when they leave. And it's $130. And, it's a 2.5-hour workshop. And they're all, I'm telling you, when they see the end result, it's amazing how happy and proud of it that everybody is. They're like, oh my God.
And they can finish that in 2 hours?
2.5 hours usually takes. And everyone is always done. And they go home with it. And it's really nice. And they all look different. And I know when they first walk in, it's chaos because you have no idea what you're doing. No. But I explain it and I say, don't worry, like the first 15 minutes, you're going to be like, what? But as soon as we start, we ease them into the process, and then it's really like, it's fun. It's just fun times.
Now, is that one of the things that you had done before you had the store?
No, I never knew how to put a clock together. When the parts came, that's a little bit of a funny story because I was away on vacation and I was already doing Fusion, doing workshops and everything. And I came home and Fusion had put out this video about farmhouse clocks and selling the kits for them and whatever. And I came home and I had a whole bunch of requests for a farmhouse clock workshop. And do you have these kits? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never done a clock. I don't know what you're saying. I was away and I didn't check my email. Anyway, so I had to learn how to make these clocks super quick. So I just threw myself into it. Now we've been doing clock workshops forever. And when the kits came, the actual clock works, they came in a little baggie from my supplier with no instructions.
Oh, nice.
And, it was kinda at the end of my workshop and I'm trying to put them together. And I had to call my supplier. I'm like, I've never done this before. How do I put a clock together? So she had to walk me through it in front of my whole class because I thought there would be instructions, but there was nothing.
Oh, wonderful.
Anyway, now that it's easy and we do it all the time, we do probably a clock workshop a month.
So just to get the intimidation out of the process, walk us through that clock just so that people know that they are going to be capable of doing it, because it really does look like a very professional thing.
But so when they come into the store and they're doing a clock workshop, and by the way, now we have the clocks at the store bare too. So at any point during the week, someone can come in and say, I want to do a clock, and we will take them through it. They don't have to sign up to a workshop. They can just come in and say,
oh, cool.
Can I do a clock? Because now that we're a DIY workshop, we can, and we'll just show them how. So if they're intimidated by the class part of it, they can come in on their own and just learn individually. Okay. So really, they come in and there's a whole bunch of just bare pine rounds on the table, plus our, paint supplies and that kind of thing. I show them how to stain it first, and they're staining with a water-soluble stain. So it's just a powder in a water. So again, that's not intimidating because they don't have to wear gloves. It's not oil. It's nothing. So it's just a water base. So they brush that on. I show them how. So I also tell them while you're doing that, you can kind of start to think. I'll talk to them about different styles of clocks. And so, it gives them a few minutes and lets it dry. And then we start, a lot of them have looked at pictures online. They've seen what we already do. So they have maybe an idea in their mind. If not, we have tons of pictures to show them, and they start to think about style. So then they dry brush it. We show them how. I go through every step. We dry brush some paint, and I go, you just go slow, add a little bit at a time, and keep adding it until you like it. So that again gets them more comfortable. It's like, okay, I don't have to finish this all at once. Like they're going slowly. And then it's, okay, we're going to put your stencil on. Do you want Roman numerals? Do you want numbers? Do you want a rooster? Whatever. So they pick that. And then they pick their part that they want to go in the center. And it's all, because it's broken down into simpler steps, it's not What's intimidating?
It's
not overwhelming. It's just that first few minutes, I think, when they walk in and they're not sure. So we talk to them about it and we say, no, like, no problem. We're going to walk you through every single step. And within 10 minutes, everyone's pretty comfortable. And I have like my laptop up with all my pictures and showing them what they want. And if they really have no idea, I say, well, let's start with, where do you think you want to put it? What colors in the room? And then we go through it personally. So I had the lady the last time, she had no idea what she wanted. I think her daughter talked her into coming. And so she really was not sure at all. So I said, okay, well, let's start with, because if you don't know anything, there's a ton of different ideas. So I said, well, what colors are in your cottage? So we started with that. And I said, okay, well, I think, and I got the colors out, laid them side by side. I said, you should do the base maybe in this, your numbers in this. And she's like, oh, that's really nice. So that's how we started. So we just built upon the colors in a room. And I find that's always a good place to start. If nobody has an idea, then you just say, I say, what color do you like? I don't know. Well, what color is your room? Oh, blue. Okay, well, how about these blues? And you just start there. There's always a place to start. Mm-hmm. You just have to ask the right questions, and then you get them comfortable. And I've honestly never had a person in any of my workshops that left unhappy. Not that I know of. Not that they've told me anyway.
Not that they've told you.
I haven't had a bad write-up yet.
I really hate my clock. Can I start over?
I hope not. Maybe they're afraid to tell me, but I haven't had it yet.
Everybody in the pictures is smiling and looking very proud of what they've accomplished. And they're beautiful. They are really beautiful. Clocks.
And they are proud, and they should be proud. And that's what we try to foster, is an environment where you can be a complete newbie. We try not to make anyone feel like they don't know. And like I said, we only have one advanced class, and people are well aware of it. If they book, that you need to know all the basics first. Everything else.
Right. And I'm sure if they should read, but sometimes if you phone in and talk about it, then the people will warn you.
Yeah. And people ask us all the time, like, do I need to know how to do this first? And no, they don't. So it's pretty good.
Good. Okay, so I'm looking down here at this list. Rustic V console or hall table.
Yeah, that's the build like a girl one, where they build the hall table. And then
What's a hall table?
So like a console table that you would have behind your couch, or like a narrow, long table that when you walk in, you put your keys on. Mm-hmm. So they're going to make that and paint it. They put it together and paint it in the store. I have a sample in the store right now. So it's a big job. It's like a piece of furniture. So you're doing a full-on piece of furniture. But I think that's going to be fun.
It would probably be fun, but I look at that and think, okay, I would rather make a crate first and just see if I like this whole thing.
Yeah, I think that
before I commit to a hall table.
I think most of the people that are going to be taking that one are either people who have taken a lot of workshops before, or they want something and they want it they've been looking for a hall table, but it's not the right color, or so this is the style I want, and now I can paint it the color I want it.
Right.
So I think it's a very tailored workshop. But now that we are a workshop shop, we have to offer so many different things. So we're trying to make sure that we get other people too who have never been into our store. So I think a couple of people who signed up for that workshop have never been into our store. They saw it and they're like, oh, that's exactly what I've been looking for. So now they're going to come to us. So I think that's what, like, I just put up a workshop. Oh, I didn't even put it up. Sometimes if I'm not sure if it's going to go, I'll put something up and say, what do you guys think? So yesterday, I have a lady local who wants to do a memory pillow workshop, which, do you know what that is? It's like where you take, say if it's someone who meant a lot to you and they passed away, you take their shirt and you make it into a pillow, or your kid's jersey from an important year or something, and you make it into a pillow. So I put it out there and I said, what do you think? Like, I love the idea. And I'm like, what do you think about that? We got so much feedback from people I've never heard of on my page. I want to take it. Sign me up, sign me up, sign me up. So now we'll be introducing that one. And again, I have a lot of people who teach in my workshop that I don't know how to make. I can't sew. I can barely sew a button. So I have people who come in who are good at those kinds of things. And so she will come in and teach that one. And it's just offer something. I'm trying to find out, what does the town want? So if anyone ever wants to give me suggestions, I'm always open to suggestions. We bring in new workshops all the time just because I know that's what people are looking for. So people wanted an upholstery. They wanted to learn how to upholster. Again, I don't know how to do that. So I offered that up and they all sold out right away. Everyone wants to learn how to upholster.
And they were doing stools or something like
yeah, and they sold out so quick. And it's a full day. It's a 5-hour workshop. And you have to bring in your own fabric, but it's a need that people wanted. Mm-hmm. So we filled it.
And it's something that, there's certain things you can go online and kind of look at the steps and do it yourself. There's other things where you kind of need to have someone there who knows what they're doing to tell you, no, don't do that, do this.
Absolutely.
Because when you start working with heavy fabrics, they cost a bit of money, and you don't want to experiment with it.
That's right. And also the equipment, or do you want to go and invest in a compressor if you're not sure?
Yeah, exactly.
So this lady brings all of her stuff.
Right.
So it's nice to be able to, I try to always be on the lookout for people who have other skills than me, so they can come in and teach those skills to other people.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. Now I put on Facebook as a little teaser, the dirty pour.
Oh, the dirty pour.
What's the dirty pour? Tell people what it's about.
The dirty pour is so much fun. And it is dirty. It's messy. It should probably be called the messy pour, but I guess the dirty pour is just a bit more enticing. Everyone thinks it's funny. But it is so much fun, and you need zero experience at all. And those went like hotcakes. We've been selling those workshops. So what we do to make it sort of you get to take home something that's also useful. Mm. So we're doing the set of 4 coasters. But really, and I put a video of the first one. So we had the first one the day after we opened, after the renovation. So I'm still like figuring out, okay, so these coasters stay wet for a day and a half. So I'm like, I didn't really think of that. So on the Saturday afternoon, everyone was like, people were in the store after the workshop was over, and they're walking around this table full of like 60 coasters wet, and I'm like, please don't touch them, please don't knock the table over, because they're all like drying anyway. So I learn as I go. But what we do is we just take these glass tiles, 4x4 tiles. You have little like shot glass cups, and we pre-mix a bunch of our fusion paints with other materials like resin and alcohol and things like that. They put all different colors, so you just keep shooting colors into this little shot glass. A mixture of whatever colors you like. You put the tile on top, you flip it over, and then you pull the cup off, and it just pours all over your tile, and it makes this marbled, beautiful, like abstract art, and it's different every single time.
But you have to have a pouring agent in the paint, right?
You have to have a few ingredients in the paint, yeah. So I pre-mix them so that it flows out nicely, and also creates like cells, like little bubbles in the paint to make it a little bit more interesting, and also so that it sticks too. But we pre-mix all of that and have a bunch of colors, metallics, so they shine too. But as soon as for the first workshop, I had everybody pull their cups off at the same time, and it was like, wow, like it's just kind of that wow factor thing.
Yeah,
and then you're going around looking at everybody's, and it's like they're all so cool and so different, and it's not precise at all. So you don't have to have a skill as to brush strokes, or, to minimize brush strokes, or to don't forget a spot. Like, it's just going to pour over the tile, and you just have to make sure it fills the tile, and then you let it be. And then you do your second one. So it's been really popular. So we're going to try to develop one that's good for kids. And I'm also going to be doing, I think, not a fundraiser, but I might be doing a charity one for a group as well. But just because 4 coasters and kids, it's messy. Because there's paint dripping everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't think the 4 coasters will work, but maybe on a canvas or something, because you can make art on a canvas. And then you have this beautiful piece of art to hang on your wall. Mm-hmm. So that one's fun. And we had I think 5 or 6 of those, and they're all sold out. So it's really, we're going to keep adding them. It's going to be a staple in the store, I think.
Yeah.
We did, same with the
vases.
The Mother's Day vase that we're working with Lindy's Florist. So that's a 2-part workshop. So they come to my store first on the Saturday, do the vase, and let it dry. I have to finish it, because I do put a finishing agent on it to make it a bit shiny. And then she'll come over with her florals and show them how to arrange for Mother's Day. I think that's going to be a fun one.
That sounds like a great one.
And she's been great. Like Linda across the street, we work well together. And so I just thought it'd be nice to have something that is a 2-parter. We've never really done a 2-day workshop, so we'll see how that goes. But also just to involve the other local merchants.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
A wonderful partnership.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, we have to take a little break now. You're listening to Fresh Waves here at Whistle FM. I'm your host, Brendan Masson, and we'll be back with Alison Jackson right after this. Stay tuned.